Hi, I'm Joe Fielder. I'm here to talk to you about Onimusha. It's a new survival horror game from Capcom, the company that's responsible for Resident Evil. Onimusha has kind of been called Resident Evil with samurai. That's sort of similar to back when Dino Crisis was first talked about. It was called Resident Evil with dinosaurs. This is probably a little more applicable for the original Dino Crisis. Once they got into Dino Crisis 2, it was, a lot different. It was a much more action-y feel than a Resident Evil game. Onimusha is kind of similar. It's much more action-y in scope and feel and control than a Resident Evil game, and it really kind of breaks away from that general mold. Is a masterless samurai, and your goal is to rescue a local princess from a group of demons. You want to destroy the demons. They're bad, they're killing people, and you want to put a stop to it. And luckily you were given a magic gauntlet from a group of ogres. That's pretty much all you hear about the ogres, is that they want to give you this gauntlet. And the gauntlet is it's empowered with their ability to suck souls from the fallen demons, and the demons' souls then give you power. The story is a little bit weak. The story is kind of cliche, both by Japanese and US standards, and there's a little bit of a problem with the telling of the story, is that the in-game sequences, well, the dialogue's either badly translated or just badly written. There's also a little bit of a disconnect with the in-game sequences with the people's voices. Their lips will continue moving after the people are done talking. So it's kind of like a Lady Kaide, kind of like a badly dubbed movie.
Nobunaga has finally engaged the enemy.
In light of the entire game, it's really not too great of a deal, but it is disappointing in light of the game's pretty high production standards. The graphics are really fantastic. It's the best looking game of its kind. The CG sequences are the best we've seen since Resident Evil Code Veronica. They're pretty much neck and neck with Code Veronica. The in-game story sequences with the game engine look better than other games' CG sequences. The rendered backgrounds in the game are probably the best rendered backgrounds you've seen in a game yet. It's overall, the graphics might not be the same achievement that, say, Shenmue was. I mean, they are rendered backgrounds, but the graphics are in the same class. They're definitely rivals. There are a lot of little tiny effects in Onimusha that are pretty impressive. In Code Veronica, you saw there was a zombie that would wander about with red eyes, and you'd have little trailers from his eyes as he walked, and it looked really, really nice. In this game, there are these zombie ninja who bounce all over the place, and they've got the same sort of effect on their eyes, but it's green. And since they're jumping all over the place, they've got these little green trailers zooming all over the place, and it looks pretty sharp. There's also an effect when you kill one of those zombie ninja. They kind of explode into this bloody smoke, and it's kind of like in the end of the movie Blade, where they pulled out all the stops with their CG animation and had a lot of bloody smoke effects. They pull that out in Onimusha as well. That's pretty impressive. The main difference between Onimusha and the Resident Evil series is its actiony feel. The controls been tweaked a little bit. It's still, generally, if you've played Resident Evil, you'll just feel pretty at home with Onimusha controls. The gauntlet has a lot of effect in the game. When you kill an enemy, it gives off this little soul energy that you're able to collect if you have the time before someone else is attacking you. There are three types of soul energy. There's yellow soul energy, which recharges your health, and there's blue energy, which recharges your magic meter, which you use for special attacks, and then there's also red soul energy, which is kind of experience points. When you get to a magic mirror, which also kind of double as save points, you can use the red soul energy to enhance your items, such as your swords, so they can have give greater damage. You can enhance your orbs, which you use to unlock doors that have special spells on them. Say you come up on a door that has 3 orbs on it, 3 red orbs on it. You need to make sure that your red orb is powered up to the point where it can open up that door. You also have the ability to upgrade just basic items like arrows, like herbs. You can upgrade your herbs into medicine, which is more powerful, gives you more health. You can upgrade your arrows into fire arrows, which do more damage. So what this allows you to do is you don't have to be as much of a miser with your items as you were in Resident Evil or any of the Resident Evil games. I think everyone out there who's ever played a Resident Evil game has had to start over again at some point because they used all their shotgun shells on a zombie. They weren't able to get past a boss. You don't have to worry about that as much in Onimusha, since you can recharge through alternate means, and you can just kind of enjoy the fighting, which is, you know, very fast, very decisive, and very fun. One of the other nice things about it, one of the other things that kind of differentiates it or kind of tweaks the whole Resident Evil premise is the puzzles are really built for speed. It may sound a little bit simple, but it's really pretty cool. It's pretty refreshing to not have to constantly backtrack. You played a lot of Resident Evil games, you know a lot of your time is spent backtracking, going back to your item box because you haven't been able to carry all the key components. You've got to, you know, put together items and then go back to an area farther away and you know, fix that puzzle. In this game, there's no item boxes. There's basically no backtracking. Instead of item boxes, you know, you get an item, you got it forever. If there's a case where you have to backtrack, there's usually a shortcut that you open up. So that's pretty cool, and that's something that a lot of people who haven't liked survival horror games will like about the game. It's one of the complaints about the game is its length. It will take you about 2 or 3 nights of just leisurely gameplay to play through the game. That is a little bit short. It's a little bit short compared to games like Resident Evil Code Veronica, where you've got an extra character to play through, you know, after you beat the game. But not having a lot of backtracking, having a more actiony feel, not having a lot of tedious puzzles to worry about, really makes up for a lot. It's the sort of game that, you know, I've heard a lot of people who've remarked that Dino Crisis 2 is a game that they really liked, even though they don't like survival horror games. And I think that Onimusha is pretty much the same way. It's a survival horror game for people who don't like survival horror games. People who are really into, you know, the Resident Evil series may find the length a little bit disappointing, but I think a lot of other people are going to be pretty happy with it.